Hey there, CGMS students. Welcome to math test number 27A, one-step equations with inverse operations. The goal of equations is to always isolate the variable. Equations are balanced. So we want to move the constants and coefficients over from one side to the other to get what our variable is. When we see a positive, we are going to go ahead and do the opposite of what we see. We're going to add a negative. You might be saying, well, why wouldn't we subtract? Well, adding a negative is the same thing as subtracting, and I'll show you why that helps us later on. So y plus 10 equals 4. We're going to add a negative 10, which is the same thing as subtracting 10 from both sides. 10 plus negative 10 is still 0, so y is equal to 4 plus negative 10 is negative 6. Remember, you have your calculator to help you prove your integer arithmetic. And n plus negative 6, so I see plus a negative, so therefore I'm going to add a positive. Draw your scale, show that both sides of the equation are equal. And again, plus a negative, so I'm going to say plus 6, make sure everything lines up. Plus negative 6 plus 6, that's 0. So n is equal to 17. In this case, had I said, oh, I see addition, therefore I subtract, well, negative 6 minus 6 would have actually given us negative 12, and that would have messed us all up, right? 17 plus negative 6 is 11, but if we did 11 minus 6 and got 5, 5 plus negative 6 is not 11, it's negative 1. So therefore, adding the opposite is very helpful to us. I see subtraction, so the first thing I'm going to do is change this to adding the opposite. So now I see plus and negative, therefore I'm going to add a positive to both sides. So draw your scale. And I say again, plus negative 15, so add 15 to both sides. Try to line it up. These cancel out as always because they're equal to 0. X is equal to positive 13. Again, you can use your calculator, negative 2 plus 15 to double check that. But again, 13 plus negative 15 equals negative 2, so you know you're right. Here again, see how you see minus and negative? You want to make sure you change it to plus or positive. So what do you see? You see a positive, so add a negative. Draw your scale. I'm going to add negative 3 to both sides. And again, we want these constants to cancel out. Positive 3 plus negative 3 is 0. W is equal to 15. When we see multiplication or division, we're just going to want to make sure that we multiply or divide by the exact coefficient that is attached to the variable. We don't want to do the opposite like we do with addition or subtraction because, again, we want it to be 1. So here, I see multiplication, so I'm going to divide. Nice and easy. So divide by 9, divide by 9. Not by negative 9, by 9, because 9 divided by 9 is 1, and 1 times a is a. If I did by negative 9, 9 divided by negative 9 would be negative 1a, and that's not what I want. I want to solve for a, right? So these cancel out. I'm getting a is equal to 4, right? So 4 is my solution. And plug it back in. 9 times 4 is 36. If I had divided by negative 9, don't write this, but if I had divided by negative 9, then I would have gotten negative 4, and 9 times negative 4 is negative 36. So that is why you're dividing by the exact coefficient attached to the variable, right? So here's another example. Negative 7 cubed. I see multiplication, right? Coefficient next to a variable is multiplication, therefore I divide. You want to divide by negative 7, the exact coefficient that is attached to the variable. Why? Because negative 7 divided by negative 7 is 1. 1 times q is just q, and equals negative 3. Let's plug it back in. Negative 7 times negative 3 equals positive 21. Let's get to a multiplication problem real quick. So here I see division, so therefore I'm going to multiply. So m over 5, I'm going to do times 5 times 5. You might be saying, well, 5 times 5 is 25, Mr. Mason. No, it's 5 times m, which is 5m, then divided by 5, which is 1m, or just m. So m is equal to, in this case, 70. Right? One more. D over negative 3. Multiply, C division, therefore I'm going to multiply. I'm going to multiply by the exact coefficient, so multiply by negative 3. Again, why? Because negative 3 times d is negative 3d. Divide that by negative 3, you get positive 1. 1 times d is just d. So those cancel off. And d is equal to negative 36. Again, if you don't believe me, you can plug back in. Negative 36 divided by negative 3 is 12. The rest we're going to do in partners.